So the Dallas Wings have announced right here. The Dallas Wings made franchise and WNBA attendance history with a pair of games at AA Center in downtown Dallas last season. Am I not mistaken to say that the Fever games were the ones that broke the record? It says here the 3 games Dallas will host, or is it just Fever? The 3 games Dallas will host.
The Dallas Wings just made franchise history, and it has absolutely nothing to do with basketball. They've announced 3 games at the American Airlines Center for the 2025 season, their massive NBA arena that holds over 19,000 fans. One against Chicago in July, one against Golden State in August, and one against Indiana on August 20th. Now, here's what makes this fascinating. Those aren't just random games. They're moving to the big venue. This is a calculated business decision that reveals exactly how the entire league is planning to capitalize on the Caitlin Clark effect next season.
Fever only played at Wings once in Dallas. Like they would play, both games would be at the would be in a big arena. The reality is that the Sky are probably going to move their they played them twice in Chicago. So the Fever, I'm just trying to think. There's 44 games. And I think you play every team 3 times. So there's going to be 15 teams next year. So that's 42. So who are the 2 teams?
Because let's be clear about what's happening here. The Dallas Wings played in their standard arena all last season. They had normal attendance numbers for a mid-tier WNBA franchise. Then the Fever came to town, and suddenly they're breaking franchise attendance records. Not because Dallas had a better team. Not because they had a star player drawing crowds. It was one game, one visiting player. And that single matchup generated more revenue than multiple home games combined. So when the 2025 schedule dropped, Dallas was the first team to publicly announce they're moving Fever games to their premium venue. They won't be the last.
Game. Then they have 4 home, they have 5 home games in their first 6. Like that is kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. Like you've got this right here, and then Golden State. So do they have any they obviously have this game between the 5th and the 12th of July, right before their long trip west.
Here's where the schedule structure gets interesting. With 15 teams next season, the Fever play 44 total games. That breaks down to playing most teams 3 times. Twice at home, once away, or vice versa. But there are 2 teams they face 4 times. And one of them is Atlanta. The Fever traveled to Atlanta twice in 2025. And if you know anything about the Dreams Arena situation, you know exactly what's coming. They share space with the Atlanta Hawks. They have scheduling conflicts. They have access to State Farm Arena when the Hawks aren't using it. Both of those Fever games are getting moved to the big building. That's not speculation. That's basic business math.
They play the Dream twice away. So the Dream absolutely. Oh, they played the Dream 4 times. That's one of the teams they play 4 times. So they played the Dream twice away, and the Dream will absolutely be a team that at least one of them is going to be in the big arena due to quote-unquote scheduling conflicts. So the Mystics obviously are going to do it. Vegas might put them in a big arena for at least one of those games. Like, it's 2 in a week. At least one of them they're going to be in.
Now, look at the road schedule from Indiana's perspective. They only visit Phoenix once. They only go to Seattle once. Single trip to Golden State. 1 game in Connecticut. For the vast majority of WNBA cities, the Caitlin Clark Tour is making exactly 1 stop. That fundamentally changes the economics compared to last season. When you're guaranteed 2 or 3 home games against the Fever, you can spread that revenue across your season ticket packages. You can absorb 1 game into your normal pricing structure. But when you only get one when it's literally your only opportunity to capture that audience, every single team is going to maximize that revenue opportunity, and that means bigger venues.
You're going to be able to see the Indiana Fever, and that's one of those good things, is that even though they will get close to or sell out these big venues, it's not like it's going to be anything like crazy like it used to be. So if you want to see Indiana, you can go see Indiana, which is genuinely a positive thing for the vast majority of fans. But obviously Dallas already being the first team to announce it, that they had to do it, checks out. And this is just my personal opinion. I'm going to talk about this in our video, but yeah, Dallas aren't trading for injuries.
Minnesota already showed us the blueprint last season. They offered half-season ticket packages that specifically excluded the 2 Fever games. Those games were sold separately at premium prices. Fans who bought partial season packages got access to every other home game, but if they wanted to see Caitlin Clark, they paid extra. That wasn't an accident. That was Minnesota's front office, recognizing they had a premium product and pricing it accordingly. Now, the Fever play in Minnesota twice again in 2025. Target Center has an upper bowl they can open for big games. Both of those matchups are getting the full arena treatment, and you can guarantee they're getting the premium pricing treatment too.
It was like they didn't even count the 2 Fever games. The 2 Fever games in Minnesota, which, by the way, they played a Fever twice in Minnesota. Those Indiana Fever games did not count as like on their half-season tickets. So, yeah, I can see the Indiana Fever doing something like that next year, and I could see them going and really like making it something that like teams, the Fever now aren't playing 3 times in some arenas.
The Chicago Sky situation is even more obvious. The Fever travel to Chicago twice next season. The Sky play in Wynn Arena, which holds just over 10,000 fans. But they have access to the United Center, the massive building where the Bulls play with a capacity over 20,000. Last season, the Sky moved 1 Fever game to the United Center, and it was a massive success. Sold out weeks in advance, generated more revenue than any other home game in franchise history. So this season, when they have 2 opportunities, both games are going to the big arena. That's not even a question. The only question is how fast those tickets sell out.
The fact is that Indiana only going to your city once means that it's going to be very, very likely that they're going to be big sellouts and they're going to be big games. And I mean it. I genuinely mean it, that it's going to be a good thing for the Fever. It's going to be a good thing because, again, there's no like overexposure to Indiana Fever or Caitlin Clark. The tour only shows up once. It's only making 1 stop in the vast majority of away arenas. So yeah, let me know what you got.
Here's what this means for the broader narrative about the WNBA's growth. We spent all of last season debating whether the Caitlin Clark effect was real or manufactured, whether the attendance spikes were sustainable, whether casual fans would actually show up, or if it was just social media hype. Well, now we have our answer. Teams are making multi-million-dollar facility decisions based on one player's road schedule. The Dallas Wings aren't moving games to American Airlines Center on a whim. That venue costs significantly more to operate. They need to be confident they can sell 15,000 to 20,000 tickets to justify that expense, and they're confident enough to announce it in December, 8 months before the season starts. The Las Vegas Aces play the Fever twice at home in 1 week. Michelob Ultra Arena holds 12,000 fans, but Vegas has access to T-Mobile Arena when it's available. The building where the Golden Knights play with a capacity over 17,000. At least one of those Fever games is getting upgraded. Probably both, because Vegas isn't leaving that money on the table. Washington plays Indiana once at home. The Mystics have Entertainment and Sports Arena, which holds around 4,000 fans, but they also have access to Capital One Arena when the Wizards aren't using it. That Commissioner's Cup game against the Fever, it's going to the big building guaranteed. The Mystics are going to host the league's biggest draw in their smallest venue when they have a 20,000-seat arena sitting empty. The LA Sparks already announced their Fever game is moving back to Crypto.com Arena. That's the venue where the Lakers play. Over 18,000 capacity. They moved a game there last season, and it was their highest attended game in franchise history. So this season, it wasn't even a discussion. The announcement came out with the schedule release. Portland plays in the Moda Center, which is already an NBA arena. They don't need to move venues, but they're absolutely going to open the upper decks for that Fever game. Same with Golden State at Chase Center. These teams are playing in premium facilities already, but they're going to maximize capacity specifically for Indiana's visit. Here's the part that's easy to miss in all of this. The Fever are only playing in small arenas for maybe 2 or 3 road games all season. Out of 22 away games, somewhere between 18 and 20 are going to be in venues with 15,000 plus capacity. That's a complete reversal from how the WNBA has operated for its entire existence. The standard model has always been smaller, more intimate venues, 6,000 to 8,000 seats, keep costs down, and create a better atmosphere. Avoid the embarrassment of empty seats on television. But next season, the Fever's road schedule is going to look like an NBA team's road schedule. Big arenas, premium pricing, massive attendance numbers, and here's what's particularly interesting about that. It solves the scarcity problem from last season. If you wanted to see Caitlin Clark play in person last year, it was genuinely difficult. Tickets sold out in minutes. Secondary market prices went through the roof. Casual fans who might have been interested couldn't actually get in a game. That created frustration and limited the growth potential. But next season, with teams moving to venue 2 or 3 times larger than their standard buildings, supply is going to meet demand. If you want to see the Fever play in your city, you're probably going to be able to get a ticket. It might not be cheap, but it'll be available. That accessibility matters for sustaining this moment. The worst thing that could happen for the WNBA's growth would be casual fans getting excited about attending a game, going online to buy tickets, and finding everything sold out or priced at $55 on StubHub. That's how you lose people. But if teams are playing in 20,000-seat arenas and tickets are available at reasonable prices, that's how you convert casual interest into actual attendance. That's how you build a sustainable fan base beyond just the hardcore fans who plan months in advance. The Dallas Wings announcing this in December is also strategically smart. They're giving fans 8 months' notice. Season ticket holders know what to expect. Casual fans can plan ahead. The team can build marketing campaigns around these premium games. And most importantly, it sets expectations for pricing and availability. Nobody's going to be surprised when those tickets cost more than a standard Wings game. The announcement makes it clear these are special events priced accordingly. What's going to be fascinating is watching how other teams follow Dallas's lead, because right now Dallas is the only franchise that's publicly announced their arena moves. But we know for a fact that at least 8 to 10 other teams are planning the same thing. They're just waiting for the right moment to make their announcements. Some will probably wait until closer to the season to build hype. Others might announce during their season ticket renewal campaigns to drive urgency. But make no mistake, the decisions have already been made. The contracts with the big arenas are already being negotiated. This is happening across the league, and that creates an interesting dynamic for the Fever themselves. They benefit enormously from this arrangement. Their players get to perform in front of massive crowds on the road. The league gets better television optics with packed arenas. The overall perception of the WNBA's popularity gets reinforced every time the Fever play in front of 20,000 fans. But the Fever also don't see any of that ticket revenue directly. That money goes to the home team. So, Indiana is essentially subsidizing the financial success of every other franchise in the league just by showing up. Now, the Fever obviously benefit in other ways. Increased league revenue eventually flows back to all teams through the collective bargaining agreement. Better television deals benefit everyone. A rising tide lifts all boats. But in the short term, there's a legitimate question about whether the Fever are being adequately compensated for the value they're bringing to road venue. That's a conversation that's probably happening behind closed doors right now between Indiana's front office and the league. The other factor nobody's talking about yet. What happens if the Fever struggle next season? What if Caitlin Clark gets injured? What if the team starts 3-12 and falls out of playoff contention by July? These teams are committing to massive venue expenses based on the assumption that interest in the Fever will remain at last season's levels. But sports are unpredictable. Narratives change fast. If the Fever aren't compelling to watch, suddenly you've got teams stuck with contract for 20,000-seat arenas and only 8,000 fans showing up. That's a real financial risk that franchises are accepting, but clearly teams have decided that risk is worth taking. The upside is too significant to pass up. One sold-out game in a premium arena can generate more revenue than 5 games in a standard WNBA venue. That math works even if there's some downside risk. And honestly, even if the Fever struggle, there's probably still enough curiosity about Caitlin Clark to fill these buildings. Maybe not to capacity, but enough to justify the venue upgrade. So, here's where we are. The 2025 WNBA season is going to look fundamentally different from any previous season in league history. The Fever are going to play the vast majority of their road games in NBA arenas in front of 15 to 20,000 fans. Other teams are going to generate record revenue from hosting Indiana. Ticket availability is going to be significantly better than last season. And all of this is happening because one player has completely changed the economic calculations for an entire professional sports league. The question now is whether this momentum extends beyond just Fever games. Will fans who show up to see Caitlin Clark also buy tickets to other games? Will teams see attendance increases across their entire schedule, or will it be limited to just that one premium matchup? That's what determines whether this is a sustainable growth moment for the WNBA or just a temporary spike tied to one specific player. But regardless of how that plays out long term, right now we're watching something unprecedented. A second-year player is driving arena decisions for an entire league. Teams are restructuring their business models around one road opponent. And it's all happening in December, 8 months before the season even starts. The Dallas Wings made the announcement first, but they're just the beginning. Over the next few months, you're going to see team after team confirm what we already know. When the Fever come to town, it's not just another game. It's the biggest event of the season, and they're going to treat it that way. So what do you think? Is this sustainable growth for the WNBA, or are teams making a risky bet that could backfire if interest in the Fever declines? Drop your thoughts in the comment.